What's up, everyone? Yvette Young here, and today I'm here with my friends from Guitar Center, and we're going to be looking at the Line 6 Pod Express. A few notes about me. My background with music is largely in classical piano and violin, and I actually took up guitar kind of late in my journey. You may know me from playing in my band Covet, but these days I spend a lot of time producing, songwriting, and composing. I think the needs of musicians over the last couple of years have really transformed. And I think before it was probably cheaper to fly a huge pedal board out and bring all your amps. But I think a big appeal of amp modeling has just been the sheer convenience. You don't have to break your back and you can easily fly with it just in a backpack. So cute, you can just slip it in your pocket. So a little bit about the Pod Express. All tones are from the Helix family. There are 7 amps, 7 cabs, and 17 different effects, including a 30-second looper. You can also create up to 21 presets. There's an onboard tuner, and there's an option for an expression pedal or a foot switch. So now that you've heard me talk about the pedal, let's just go ahead and hear it. We can start by hearing some of the different amp sounds. So in the intro I played, I was actually already on the first setting, which is clean. I just had a little bit of tape delay in chorus, but let's hear it without. I think that's a great bread and butter tone to start building off of. Let's add a little bit of hall reverb. Definitely noticed a little bit more color than clean, which was nice. Now let's check out the next setting, which is special. From what I remember, this one just has a little bit more juice. Let's try the same riff. Now let's try the next setting, which is chime, if you're wanting a little more British sound. Now that's a familiar sound, but I think I want to add a little bit of chorus and a little bit of delay. I think that one sounded even grittier than the last. Seems like we're getting heavier and heavier as the knob turns right, and I'm noticing a trend dynamically. Speaking of which, let's check out the next setting, which is called Dynamic. That was definitely way more broken up than the last. Let's see what Crunch has to offer. Hell yeah, that's crunchy. Now let's check out the next setting, which is called Heavy. I actually think that would make a great solo tone. And speaking of solo tones, the last setting is called Lead. Let's try that. Honestly, these amp settings are pretty impressive for just this little box, and I think it's a great way to get into experimenting with different tones if you don't want to buy another amp. So now that we've gone through all the different amp sounds you can get, I'm super excited to dive into some of the effects. So let's go ahead and explore my favorite section of the effects, modulation. I decided to go with a little bit of chorus and delay. One of my favorite effect combinations is modulation with delay, and in this case, chorus. Usually live, I would have to get that with a chorus pedal and a delay pedal, but it's pretty nifty that you can do it all in one place. So the next sound I'd like to hear would be tremolo. Let's hear it with some hall reverb. I feel like I can't hear tremolo without thinking about a spaghetti western, so it definitely transported me to that environment. So now let's check out some of my favorite effects in the distortion part of the pedal. I'm gonna go ahead and dial in a fuzz with a little bit of delay for that shoegaze vibe. And I'm gonna keep the amp on clean, because I think the fuzz is doing enough already. Cool, gnarly, channeling some My Bloody Valentine. So I'm super curious about this overdrive and want to give it a little test run. I've been using clean this whole time, and it would be nice to switch over to the chime setting on the amp, and I would love to add a little bit of delay. In all the songs that I write, I'm always thinking about dynamics, and I have a lot of sections in my songs that kind of just repeat and repeat, and I'm always thinking about how can I add intensity and build to a crescendo. And overdrive is a great way I like to add a little bit of intensity to the things I play. So I think along with delay, that definitely accomplished what I wanted dynamically. So I'd love to go over to ambient territory right now and explore some of the reverb options. I think I want to play around with the one called Space and a little bit of tape delay. I find effects to be very inspiring in coloring the way I play, because it forces me to be more of a listener rather than imposing my will on the sound. And I love reverbs because the beautiful decay just makes me lay back. I think if I didn't have an effect, my tendency would be to err on the verbose side and just play something very busy. But I kind of really just love having the chord drone out and listen to how beautiful that reverb tail sounds. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go back on the clean setting on the amp, and I'd love to hear the plate sound, and I'm gonna add just a smidge of tape delay. As you can tell, I love putting delay on everything. It just softens the attack, and it just adds such a wonderful sustain. I'm just really impressed with how much color some of these really simple effects can add to your playing. Even on a clean amp setting, I feel like just adding a little bit of plate just took it to an ethereal space. So finally, let's drop into the delay zone. I want to use this tape delay that I've been really digging, but I'm gonna do a more exaggerated version of it, and I think I'll add a little bit of chorus. And if my imagination is correct, I think it should sound like something that's blooming. I'm gonna go ahead and capo on 3, and every time I capo, I just want to tune to make sure everything's still in order. Luckily, the Pod Express has a built-in tuner that is super easy to use. All you do is hold down the tap button, and then the tuner will appear, and when you're done tuning, just click that button again, and you should be back in business. So as I mentioned earlier, I think it definitely sounds like something's blooming out. I find delay to be a really fun way to make things sound like they're underwater, especially when coupled with chorus. After sitting with this pedal for a day, I think it's really neat. Honestly, especially in its practical applications, I would probably find myself using this on the road or when I'm traveling just to record ideas. Sometimes inspiration strikes and you hear a certain tone and you don't want to have to bring out your whole pedal board. It's really nice to have all your colors on one palette and be able to access them all at once when you want to work. If you're interested in learning more about the Line 6 Pod Express, head to guitarcenter.com, call one of their expert gear advisors, or visit your local GC.